What up? Peace, everybody. Hey, Pina Colada. Just letting the room fill in. Hey, Miss Angela. Yep, I'm back. Okay. So, I see everybody asking a lot of questions. So, this is how we're going to do it. First, I'm going to cut off the comments because I want you to hear what has been going on. I'm sure you all want to know, like, where have you been? What are you doing? Why? What? You know. So I want to cut the comments off so that I'll be able to tell y'all what happened. And after that, what I will do, I will start another live and I'll do a Q&A. So that if y'all have any questions after me letting you know what happened, then we can go forth. But I do want to say I received a lot of messages from people. Just wanted to make sure I was okay. And I didn't respond to everybody, but I just want to let you know that I did receive your messages. I just didn't really want to communicate. And I knew that I was going to come back. And so I didn't want to keep repeating myself. So I was like, they'll know when it's time for them to know. But I want to appreciate everyone that reached out, whether you supported me, whether you was scolding me or whatever. Thank you for caring enough to use your voice and to express how you feel, because that's really what it's about. That's where everything is moving, knowing how to express yourself, and then you know how to deal with it when someone expresses themselves back to you. So we're going to go ahead, cut the comments off. Okay. So much, it's just it's the reason why I went MIA was because I really needed to self-reflect. I really needed to pay attention to what was really going on. And I'm trying to, I want to know how far I should go back, because you knew I had left Carbonnation a year ago. So it's like a year. This is about the time that we left, a year ago, literally. And at that time, I want to be more clear. I was ready to go. Because as y'all saw where I was headed, I didn't look good. The baby was small, and it was just a lot going on. And at that time, I was ready to go. But I will say that I did not like how we left. I did not like how Rambo, Flo, and Bobs and I left. We just left. And that's the one thing that I did not agree with. That was the one thing that weighed on my heart, was the way that we left Carbonnation a year ago. We could have done it a better way. We could have did it a more honorable way, because we went through a lot, regardless of how we feel about each other or how anybody else feels about it. We were family, and we went through a lot together. So sometimes things are going to end, and it's okay, but you want to end them in the most honorable, respectable, loving way possible. And I feel like in my heart, I didn't do that. And I didn't express myself. Everybody that left expressed themselves. But I didn't. I didn't say anything. I was so tired and just so defeated at that time. I had lost my voice that I didn't have anything to say. I couldn't speak at that time. So I just left knowing how I felt. So as Rambo and I left, you saw the experience that Rambo and I went through. You know, we documented the whole thing. But at the same time, that was still weighing on my heart about how it ended, you know, with Carbonnation. I didn't like that. And so Rambo and I, we're going through whatever we're going through, but then it was just me and Rambo. And me and Rambo, we didn't really know each other. And so him and I are dealing with what we have to deal with. And I wasn't understanding to what Rambo was going through, because Rambo, when he first came to Carbonnation, Rambo was a single guy. Rambo was not in a relationship. Rambo just was just doing him. And so when he left Carbonnation, he had a wife and a baby. And a sick wife, and a little bitty fragile baby. And then Rambo, he went through the same thing that I went through. So our minds wasn't right. Our minds was not, you know, okay, because we went through a transformation, you know. And so he's coming out trying to be a father and a husband, but then also trying to figure things out for himself. And I wasn't able to be more understanding of that, because I was going. Okay, somebody tried to call me. And so I was going through what I was going through, being a new mother, trying to get my health back together, and then the detachment of a group of people that I identified myself with as family, you know. So him and I were just battling each other. Instead of coming together, we were like this, going in the same direction. It was just a lot. And so it was getting to the point where I was like, what I asked for was not what I wanted. You know, I told myself I wanted to leave. I was ready to go. And then the universe gave me this great opportunity to come to Hawaii. And then I wasn't appreciative of it when I received it. So it was just a whole bunch. And so when I really thought about what was important to me, family is important to me. And so when I left the States, I left my family, as we call my Babylon family. I left them, and then I received a new family, which was Carbonnation. But then I left them, and it was just me and Rambo, and we didn't look at each other as family. So I was just like, what is going on? What is becoming of my life? Then I have this baby, and it's like I don't really know what to do, and you know, it's just like it was just so much coming at me. And then the one thing that I continue to remember, you know, that healed me and that helped me was Carbonnation, you know. And so then I was just like, maybe it was a mistake for me to leave. You know, but then it was just like, because I left, everybody was supporting me, because, you know, you got this one group that love Carbonnation, you got this other group that hate Carbonnation, and I didn't hate or love them. It is a part of my journey. It's my experience. It wasn't no hate or love thing, but it was like I was forced to choose, because Rambo, he didn't want to have anything to do with it. He was wanting to move on with his life, but it was a big piece of my life. It brought me into my divinity. It brought me into the awareness of self, you know. And so that part of me that healed me, I was trying to ignore instead of embracing and allowing. I was ignoring it because I didn't want to make Rambo feel a certain way. I didn't want to make my followers feel a certain way. I just didn't want to make nobody feel a certain way. But the whole time, I'm the one that is torturing myself. So eventually, I think Chief, he ended up reaching out to me on the live and was just like, you know, remember this, and, you know, come back home, we miss you, da 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 da. And I was just like, what? It caught me off guard. And so then that's when things started manifesting. That's when things started erupting. And then that's when I had to be honest with myself about how I felt. That, yeah, I do miss the family. I do miss being back at Carbonnation. I do miss doing the teachings. Like, it's like I miss that. I say, you know, I want to go back. Like, I was just saying that to myself. And so I eventually shared that with Rambo, and obviously it didn't go great. It didn't go great, you know, but that was me becoming authentic to myself. That was just the beginning. And even though it might have hurt him, or people might have attacked me since coming out, it doesn't matter. I got to be authentic. I got to be true to myself, you know, at all times. And that's what happened. So then eventually I kept shutting it off, because even though I was being authentic to myself, it was just a lot of discord, and I was just trying to like just bury it. And so then eventually, long story short, you saw me making videos, especially when Chief went to jail, and I was repping for him, and, you know, I started speaking up and started letting people know, like, this is what I believe in, and, you know, this isn't right. We always need to do the right thing. And I really don't remember how it all transpired, but I just knew one day I was like, Rambo, I want to go back. Rambo, I'm not happy here. This ain't it. And I want to go back to Carbonnation. And, you know, of course, we argued, we fought, and it was a lot of resistance, you know, but it was a relief. Oh my gosh, it was such a relief that I was like, oh my gosh, okay? And so, moving forward, that's when you saw me cut my hair and start doing the downloads, and, you know, and start reconnecting back with them, because it was just like, I'm doing this and I don't care what no one say. Well, to make a long story short, when I cut my hair, Rambo was going to buy me a ticket that day. That was back in September. He was going to buy me a ticket that day. He was like, you gotta go. He was like, you can't, he's like, I don't care where you go, but you ain't staying here. And I was like, all right, give me a ticket and we going. And he was like, oh, absolutely not. He was like, you're not taking the baby. He was like, you can go, you can find yourself, but what you're not going to do, you're not going to take the baby. And so, of course, me being who I am, I'm like, no, I'm taking my child, and we can fight, or I'll take and I'll run. And it was a lot. It was just a lot going on. And I remember I called Chief, and I was like in tears, and then, you know, he was just talking to me. It was just like, this is something you got to go through, and, you know, this is what you got to go through. He was like, you got to decide or whatever. And so I was just like, damn. And so in that moment, because Rambo wasn't here when he had told me I couldn't take the baby, so I was about to pack all my stuff up. I was like, come on, Zin, I'm going to run. I'm like, where are you going? You on the island? Where you think you gonna run to? And so I was like panicking. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, it's like I had no control over my life. And that's exactly in that moment. I had no control. I was out of control of my own life. And in that moment, I just sat there. I sat there. I was like, what are you doing? Why do you keep running away from yourself? Where are you going? What are you trying to escape? And in that moment, I just let go. I really let go. And that's when I realized that I controlled everything. And in that moment, it was like, you can do this. You can have whatever it is that you want. But there's a certain way you got to go about things. Stop being hasty. Stop being immature. Stop being emotional. Stop being reactive. Be present and look at what's in front of you. What is happening? And I'm like, I'm running away from myself. I'm running away from my life. I'm running away from my problems. And I'm thinking that carbonation is the answer. So when I really sat with myself and realized what was going on, that's when peace came over me. So when Rambo came back, because he was doing, so he was on an assignment or something. So when Rambo came back, he thought he was going to come back to somebody that was going to, because he always called me sassy. He thought he was going to come back to that. And no, I was very calm, and I was very peaceful and understanding. Because, you know, we always teach about love is understanding, but no, I had to really sit down and really love him in that moment and love myself. So I was like, Rambo, what is the issue with me taking Zen, leaving and taking Zen? I said, you know, this situation with me and you is not working. You already know that we need to part ways. You already know, like the time has come. So I know you ain't doing this because you in love with me. I was like, you know, I don't understand that this is your child, but relationships end all the time. I was like, even if it's not carbonation, you know, any moment I can leave and want to start over in my life, and it happens. So what's the issue? I said, tell me how you feel and what's really the issue. So he said that he didn't mind me going back to carbonation because he knew that's where I belong. He knew that was my soul family. He knew I was more passionate and devoted with the mission more than the actual person was. He was like, I know. He said, I know you're loyal. He was like, I know that. And he said, but it's just that he was like, he said he was just afraid that he didn't want the baby to get mistreated, and he didn't want me to get mistreated, and he also wanted the baby to be in his life, but he just wanted to make sure that this is something that I want to do, that I'm solid in it. He said, because if I give you my baby, he said, I'm still responsible for you. I'm responsible for you and the child. So wherever you go, it's still going to be my fault because I let you go. And he was like, so whatever you do, he said, I want to make sure you're okay and that you know what you're getting yourself into. And I was like, okay. I said, I get that, because with me, especially with that Sagittarian energy, I'm very hasty. When I see something, I'm going for it. And it don't matter because I'm a free thing. I'm a free spirit. I'm going to do whatever I want. And then it's like I'm all over the place. I'm all unstable and stuff. But when you have a baby, it's kind of like silly. You know, it's like, okay, girl, okay, you free spirited, but you got a little child over here. Like, it's going to let you know how free spirited you're not, because they still have their needs, and they need you. They're dependent on you. So I was like, okay. Because I didn't want to be one of those people that left their child and to go off, because I feel like the reason why they did that is because they did not take the time to really look at their situation to make it work for them and benefit them, and just be patient. You can have whatever you want in this life, but you have to be patient. You understand? And so that's what I did. I was patient. I was like, okay. So I said, this is what I'm going to do, Rambo. I said, he said, you got to know, he said, if you're going to teach, you got to know the teachings. So I was like, all right. So that's when I started doing the downloads, and y'all saw me teaching, and y'all saw, you know, me really talking like I knew what I was talking about, and really being dedicated. It was to show Rambo that this is something I really wanted to do, and that Zen would be okay with me, and I'm solid with who I am, and nobody ain't going to hurt Zen because nobody ain't going to hurt me. You know, so it was really me proving to Rambo that we'll be good. So after a while, me doing that, you know, things started getting better between Rambo and I. We started communicating more, and it just wasn't this wedge between us, because now he was starting to really see me for who I was. He was starting to accept me for who I was, and I was starting to accept him for who he was, because I was like, wow, thank you for letting me be me. And the more he allowed me to be me, the more I allowed him to be him, and we started getting this understanding with each other. It was weird. Like with Rambo and I, like when we're apart, we love each other more. You know, it just, I don't know what it is about it. It's like we love to give each other space. And so now we're at this space to where we just let each other be who that person is, and accept it, you know. And I always tell Rambo, the best thing you can do for me is take care of you. Don't be coming up here with your problems. Take care of that. And to get happy, get balanced, and then come over here. We be straight. Like, I always tell him that. And so that was what we started doing. Even though I was leaving, I said, I'm leaving. I'm going. I'm leaving. And, yeah. And so, of course, everybody had all their things that they were saying. And, you know, speculations and this and that. You know, but nah, all the things that y'all heard wasn't true at all. Because I wasn't really talking to Chief. Like, I would talk to him sometimes, but I wasn't really talking to him like that. But, you know, I'll be in his downloads, and he'll come in my downloads, and that's when you saw him and I talking and stuff. But there was no talk of me coming back being his wife or anything like that. Now, the person that was trying to make me be his wife was Tron. Tron was trying to make me be his direct. And I kept telling Tron, I was like, no, I'm not interested. But, you know, I don't want to come back in doing that. Like, I really want to focus on the family and focus on my purpose and focus on the baby. And I said, I'm not really, you know, trying to do all that. So Tron was just like, okay, but, you know, we're still building. I was like, okay, cool, but no. And so then, okay, let me think. Okay. So as time, okay, back. Okay, so I started seeing things differently because I noticed the way they used to do things there. It wasn't doing them anymore. Like, nobody wasn't really going live. She was going live all day, you know, and it was just a lot. It was just a lot going on that was different. And I was like, I wonder why they're not really doing lives. They're doing more pre-records and, you know, things to that nature. And so something within me was just like, something's different, something's off. And not in a negative way. It was just like, pay attention. Like, pay attention. Because when I came to Carbonnation, I came under melanation. I came at one of the best times to come to Carbonnation. It was I'm telling you, y'all, it was one of the best times, liberating, enlightening times when we were melanation. And so I still have that in my head. But obviously things have changed and things are continuing to evolve, and that's what life is about. But then sometimes people aren't going to go with you in that change, and it's okay. So as the days coming near and me deciding when I wanted to go back, something within me was just like, because remember, kept being like, when you want me to buy the ticket? When you want me to buy the ticket? And then eventually remember was like, I ain't buying you no ticket. If he wants you so bad, he'd buy you a ticket. And I was just like, okay, you know. And so I was just like, well, whatever happens. Like, if it's meant for me to go back, I'm going to go back. But I'm still going to proclaim the kingdom. I'm still going to do the work. I'm still going to do what I'm here to do. It doesn't even matter. And so then, as I continued to do certain things, eventually Rambo was like, you gotta go. Rambo was like, I understand, you know, this is your calling, but you're in the way of my calling. You're in the way of what I'm trying to do, and it's time for you to go. And I was like, does that mean that the baby he's going with me? He was like, yeah. And I was like, thanks. I was like, yes. You know, I was like, okay. And so Rambo ended up buying me a ticket. So when he did that, something happened. Like, I don't know. It was just like, at first I was like, yes. And I let you know. I let some of the others know. You know, I was like, yeah, I got the ticket. We coming in 2 weeks. You know, yeah. You know, I said we're coming. I actually did it. I actually accomplished it. I'm going back. You know, and I was like, yes. So as the days went on, it was just something within me was like, not now. No, it's not time for you to go back. Nope. Pay attention. You know, and then eventually me and Rambo was talking about doing this and doing that. And Rambo was like, you do know you're leaving, don't you? You know you're leaving in like 13 days or 10 days. I was like, yeah, I know I'm leaving. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm leaving. You know, and so, but it was just all of these thoughts start coming, and it was just something within me was just like, no, don't do it. Like, don't do it. It's like, it's not time. It's not time. Don't do it. Don't do it. And so then eventually, like, I talked to Rambo, and I was like, Rambo, I said, I gotta talk to you about something. And he was like, I already know. And I was like, what? He was like, you feel nervous about going back? And I was like, yeah. And I said, where's that coming from? And he was just like, remember, he said, if you're going to do anything, he said, yeah, I know things change. They said things change and it's not like how it used to be. He said, if you're going to do anything, you need to go into the mindset that it is the way that you know it to be. And he was like, and you need to build off of that. He said, don't go on what you think it can be. Go in with how you know it is, so then you won't be disappointed. And I was like, yeah. And I said, I guess I'm just nervous. I said, because I know that I'm not the same person anymore. Like, I grew. I went through something. I said, nigga, we was homeless, okay? And we got through that. I said, I'm just different now. You know, I'm becoming. I don't know. It's just like, and I said, I don't know if I fit in. I don't know if I've evolved from that. You know, that space. Not the consciousness, but the space that's being held there. I was like, I don't know. And I said, I'm nervous. And, you know, he was like, yeah, he was just like, you'll be all right. He was like, but just remember that. He was like, don't go into something with the potential, go into something with the knowing that of what you know, what it is, not what it could be. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And so, and Rambo was very supportive. Rambo was just like, go, you know, live your life, you know. And he knew I'm a good mother. He knew I would never let anything happen to the baby. I wish somebody would do something to Zen. And so then as the days come near, I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, what is this feeling coming over me? Why is there this hesitation? Because, you know, we always say, you know, thoughts and emotions are the same, you know, be objective and all this and that. But it was more than that, because it was a compelling force within me that was telling me pay attention and like sit still. And so coming down to the last days, I started getting totems. The universe started speaking to me. When I say totems, I'm talking about numbers. I'm talking about different animals. I'm talking about signs and symbols. Remember, the universe is always talking to you. The universe has its own language. Okay? And if you're not in tune to that, you will not be able to stay in tune to what's really going on. And I thought about this the other day, that if you break down the word universe, it's una, which is one, and verse, which is language. One language, one thought. Okay? So that's what you want to get tapped into. When we talk about the universe did this. Nah, it's you tapping into this one language, this thought. And if you stay focused, and if you surrender to that language, you will always be protected and guided. Doesn't matter if you're a part of Carbonnation or if you're a part of Timbuktu, or are you on your own. If everybody is specifically seeking truth and specifically want to be on the frequency of that one language, that one thought of consciousness, we're all going to come together anyways. We're all going to be talking about the same thing anyways. You know, and so that's what was speaking to me. That's what was coming through me, because I always tell myself I am a divine being. I'm a vessel for truth. I'm a vessel for light. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I'm about truth, baby. I don't care. I ain't into these characters and these relationships. It's about truth. And as long as you focus on that, you got my loyalty and my devotion forever. You know, and that's what it's all about for me. So coming down to the last days, Rambo was like, when you gonna pack? When you gonna go? And I was like, I'm going to do it. I was just like, dang. I said, universe, I need a sign. I said, give me a sign. I need a sign. Like, I need it, because I said, I'm not feeling this, you know. So then Chief ends up calling me. Because at one point, he stopped talking. He stopped posting. And I said, something going on with him. And I said, I bet you had something to do with Nana. I said, I bet you had something to do with her. I said, but I'll wait. And so he ended up calling me. And he called me on three-way with Nana. And I was like, I knew it. And they both had this old cheesy grin on their faces. I said, I knew that this is what was going on. I said, it had to be something very, very important to shut your mouth, because you stayed talking. And I said, and I knew whatever it was something very monumental. And he was like, yeah, don't tell nobody. Yeah, she coming back. And I was just like, I knew it. I said, if y'all go back to past videos, I said, I know she's going to come back. And so when they called me, I was just like, I knew it. I said, I knew that you was talking to her. I knew she was coming back. And so, and everything was just happening simultaneously, you know. And so she was like, are you coming back? Are you sure you're going to come back? And I was like, yeah, I'm coming back. My plane leaves tomorrow or whenever. I said, yeah, I'm coming back. I said, I'm going to come back. And I was like, and so I got off the phone with them. And they was like, don't tell nobody. And then the next day, they ended up posting pictures and stuff of each other. So I told Rambo, I said, I got the sign that I needed, the confirmation. I said, Nana's coming back. And I said, and it's time for me to go back. I said, that's what I needed to feel good about leaving, you know. And he was like, okay. He was like, that's good. He said, I'm glad she's coming back. I said, yeah, me too. I said, good. I said, everything's happening the way it's supposed to happen. So then something told me to wait. Again, things just keep telling me, no, just wait. Be quiet and just wait. And when I was in Carbonnation, there was things that I saw that I did not agree with. And I didn't say anything, you know, because I was a part of a group, right? And when you're a part of something, it's not about you. It's about the group. But the one thing that I have to realize and remember, that even though you're a part of something, don't dim your light to be a part of something. Don't seek validation to be a part of something. Don't hide yourself to be a part of something, because who you are, you're a piece of that group. Without your component, that group, you know, may not sustain, or that group may not be as great as it can be, because the people make the group. So a lot of times when he would say something, do something I didn't agree with, I didn't say nothing. I was just like, ain't like you gonna listen anyways, you know. And so I had a lot of built up stuff in me that I never shared. And even when I left and he was talking shit and was talking about us, you saw I was very graceful. I didn't say anything, because I believe in karma. I believe what you put out, you're going to receive. So just because someone is saying something about me, it doesn't mean that I need to retaliate. You know, and so even though I'm not with you, I'm loyal to you. You know, when I say that I love you, I mean that. You know, and I'm not going to put your shit out there. I'm not going to talk about you. But not everybody's like that. You know, and I understand that. And so it got to the point where I started seeing things that I didn't agree with. I was like, I don't agree, but I didn't say nothing. I was like, you know, whatever, you know, it's fine, you know. And so after I got off the phone with him, I received a text message from Loyal. And Loyal was talking about, I was talking to Chief, and he said, you and I would make a great fit. And I was like, what? He was like, so maybe you can send me your chart. I was like, no. And he was like, why not? I said, because I'm not interested, little boy. Absolutely not. I've been there, done that. Like, no, I don't want to get with you. No, absolutely not. Go on somewhere. Like, you know, I'm like, and so then I realized, I was like, Faith, why I said, why are you going into a situation that you are resisting? Like, you're going into, because like he always say that, yeah, this is a movement, but it's still my life. Your carbonation is a movement, but Chief still has certain ways and things that he likes to do things. And you either be, because you did, now he's sending me a message, why are you telling people our business? Because you told people our business. That's why. He just sent me a message. Why are you telling people my business? Because you started it. And we're going to talk about it, because he told people my business. When I sent him that letter about how I felt, what did he do? He went live and read to y'all my feelings and try to make fun of it. And so now that I'm talking, now here he comes. I'm not saying anything disrespectful. I'm talking about me. I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about me. You understand? I'm not like you. I don't talk shit about you or nobody else. But what I'm not going to do is allow you to tell my story, and then I can't tell my story. I'm not saying anything that you haven't already told the people. He said they will use what you say against me. I'm not saying anything that they don't already know. You understand what I'm saying? You started it. You went live and told the people about what I said to you. And he was like, what? Did she think that I wanted, that she was going to be my wife? Like, you made a mockery of my feelings. So now I have to come live and talk about my side of the story. You did it. I didn't do it. Like, I never talked shit about Chief. Like, this live is not about him. And I'm still not going to talk shit about him or nobody there. You understand? I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you, Chief. But because of what you did to me, this is what I have to do to protect myself. Because whatever I say to you, you'll use it against me. And how do you think that makes me feel? You understand? Like, and I'm glad that he's doing this. Because I want y'all to know, oh yeah, I'm doing it public because you did. You did public. You think you can say whatever you want to say and do whatever you want to do to people. And it's not right. Yeah, I am hurt. But this is what you taught me to do. You taught me to do this. You taught me to express myself. You understand what I'm saying? And now that he's here, I want y'all to know something. I was never jealous of Nana or anybody else. I was devoted and loyal to the mission, to the purpose. I found myself. And I was devoted to him. See, a lot of y'all say y'all believe in God. Y'all say y'all believe in God. Y'all believe in Jesus. But y'all ain't never met God. See, when I found Chief and was face to face to him, I was looking God, divinity, in the eye. See, this deity, this entity saved my life. So I was devoted to him. Ain't about no freaking love, romantic relationship. No, it was devotion. But what is God? God is energy. So just like energy changes forms and transforms, so does God. So just because you might have the light in divinity doesn't mean you hold on to it. Doesn't mean it's always there. You know, it's something you have to allow and be open to. And it didn't matter what he did or what he said. I was devoted. He's calling me and stuff, and it's not even about that. It's not even about him. This video was never about him. This live is never about him. It's about me. Okay, not everything's about you. So the day that I was supposed to leave, I literally could not pack my bags. Rambo was like, "What are you doing? It's time for you to go." And so I was like, "Yeah, I know." I was like, "Rambo, I just don't think I should go." I said, "Go." It's telling me, wait. It kept telling me, wait. You know, and then and then I did go off on him when he said he was monogamous, and I said him because and the reason why I went, no, I'll get to that because we'll get to the point. So Rambo was like, okay. He was like, I understand. He was like, I already bought the ticket. He was like, at least pack your bag and go with me to my friend's house because it's on the way to the airport. And if you change your mind, we go back home. If you don't, you can still go. I was like, okay. So I packed the stuff. And then we go. And so we go. And then I talked to my friends. Our friends that we have are beautiful. They are just the best friends to have. They gave us great advice and they were very supportive, and it made me feel good. I was like, okay, yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm going. I'm leaving. Yeah, and Rambo was like, yeah, I feel good about you going too. And so then we go, and I missed my flight because my flight was at 9:00. And we got there about 8 o'clock, and by the time we got through, the baggage and stuff, they ended up closing the gate, and so I ended up missing that flight. And so then it was like, okay, no problem, we'll put you on another flight. And I was like, okay. And then it was like, oh, well, you're going on the international flight, you don't have a ticket for the baby. And remember, it was like, yeah, I didn't want to buy a full ticket. He was like, so what can I do? So Rambo paid a ticket for the baby. So he paid a ticket for me, paid a ticket for the baby, and then he was going to pay for the luggage. And then it was like, well, you need a returning flight. And he was like, oh, shoot. So we ended up getting this returning flight, but we had to wait. If it's a disruption because he keep calling me, you get your moment, Chief. It's not what you think it is. I'm not like that. I'm not like y'all. I don't be talking shit about people like that. I'm very careful what I put out into my universe. That's why things always work out for me, because I treat people the way that I want to be treated. So Rambo was like, so then I ended up missing that flight. That 10:30 flight. Rambo was like, look, I don't have no more money to give you. He said, I didn't stop you. I didn't resist you. I don't know what else to do. And so then I called Chief, and they didn't answer because it was really late. And so then I was like, well, let's just go home. And it was like, okay. And so we went home. And so then the next day, Chief called me, and he was just like, what's going on? You should have called me. And I was like, yeah, I know. And he was just like, the reason why it didn't work out is because of you, your energy. And I was like, yeah, I know. It was just like, I can't lie to him. You know me. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. And so then I get off the phone with him. And so so that's when they went live. Him and Nana went live or whatever. And so then Rambo was like, why didn't you let him know how you felt and like what's going on with you? Why do you think that happened? And so then I just ended up sending him that message that he went live about and shared with the world. Okay, you did that. And let everybody know what I said, because I was hurt. And instead of him allowing me to have my feelings and then waiting for me to talk to him, he went live and shared it with y'all. So that's why I don't know why he doing all of this now when you do it all the time. And And I just let it all out. I just let him know how I felt. But it's not about the monogamy, y'all. It was just about everything. It was about everything. How he made me feel, everything. And I just laid it all out there. And because my moon's in the 12th house, so a lot of times our emotions are hidden. Like, we might feel something, but we'll bury them. And that's what I did for the past few years. I buried all of it. But then in this moment, like, I just went the fuck off. And I wasn't disrespectful. I just let him know how I felt. And so at that moment, I just started crying. I was just crying and crying. And I was just like, oh my God. So why do I feel like I'm breaking up with someone? You know, and that's how I felt. Like I finally let him know how I felt. I finally released that. And so in that moment, like I said, more peace just came over me. It was like a relief came over me. And, you know, and Rambo was very supportive. Rambo didn't make me feel bad. Rambo didn't make it be about him. Rambo was just there, just like, you know, there to be supportive or whatever. And so then someone told me just to be quiet and just wait. Don't say nothing. Don't go on camera. Don't talk to him. Don't talk to nobody. Just be quiet. And just pay attention. And I was like, okay. Because I felt bad. Because I never talked to Chief like that. I never really talked to him like that. You know, I know, like I said, he let y'all read the message. You know, it wasn't anything like crazy. But I never just let him know how I felt. You know, and what he meant to me. You know, I never did that. And so then 2 days later, Tori goes live. And she's doing all of this and all this. And I was like, oh, shoot. And then after that, they get deported back to the States. And I was like, oh, my gosh. And so then that's when, in the moment, I was like, now I see why things happened the way that they were. The universe was guiding me. My intuition was guiding me. It was like, because the thing about your intuition, the thing about your own inner guide is that it's tapped into the universe. See, people are always looking for God, but God is within you. That's why I always say that you are God, because when you are talking, what's that voice that you hear? It's your voice. It ain't nobody's voice but your own talking to you, which is God, which you are. But we are programmed to go against that voice. We are programmed not to listen to that voice. So that uncomfortableness that I was feeling, that anxiety that I was feeling, was that disconnect that I had with my own inner self, my own God, my own, you know, my own consciousness. It was like me fighting and battling because I wasn't used to that feeling, that energy coming through me, guiding me on what I need to be doing at all times. And so I'm just like, oh, I don't know what this feeling is. No, nigga, that's your inner God telling you, do this, don't do that, pay attention. So if I wouldn't have listened, I would have experienced what they're experiencing. And not saying what they're experiencing is a good or bad thing, but maybe that's not something I need to experience anymore. Maybe it's time for me to do something else. And so when I start doing self-reflection, because we always talk about balance, stay balanced, you know, be balanced. But what does that really mean, to be balanced? You know, and there's certain things in your life that is out of balance, but in order for you to bring balance to it, you need to be very specific to that. Right? So for me, the one thing that I was out of balance with is the word, and this is a word, fantasy. Fantasy. That is a word, an energy, a vibration, because remember, words hold vibration. That was a vibration that I was not in balance. I was not tuning. And let me be more clear about that. Because when I was at Carbonnation, right, I was ready to leave. But then when I came to Hawaii, I wanted to go back to Carbonnation, or I wanted to do something else. And when I say fantasy, is that we have these ideas and these dreams and these aspirations of what we want to be and who do we think we are. but it's the application that actually make it possible. But when you are caught up in fantasy, when you are out of balance to fantasy, you ain't going to do nothing. You're just going to just sit there and be in Fa La La Land. But then, say for example, you do receive what it is that you want. Instead of you being present and being focused on what's in front of you and being in the now, what the out of balance of fantasy is, it always have you looking to the future or it has you looking back. So for me, throughout my life, I was always out of balance to my fantasy, to my dreams, because I could never just sit still and appreciate and be in the moment and be in the now and really see what's in front of me. Because if I would have went back to Carbonnation, it would have been the same thing. I would have been wanting to be back in Hawaii, or I wanted to do something else. So before I do anything, I need to get in balance to my desires, to my fantasy, to what I want, to my purpose. And then once you get into balance into that, then you can be more committed. You can be more solid. But you can't be solid and committed when you are all over the place. And that was the one thing that in this very moment I came to the realization, to the awareness of. And then trusting my intuition. And that's the reason why, y'all, I had to be quiet. I had to humble myself to my own intuition. And I had to realize that everything that I need to know is already with me. But if I quiet myself and silence myself and listen, then I'll be able to hear it. But if you continue to go outside of yourself, because I know we're talking about everything within is what you see on the outside, but if I continue separating myself for what I see outside of myself, then I'm not going to evolve. I'm not going to learn. I'm not going to become, because I'm continuing to separate myself for what I do see, And that's the reason why I had to humble myself and be quiet and take that time of solitude, because that was big. I was like, wow, just imagine all the times where my intuition, where my guide was trying to tell me something and I wasn't listening. Things could have been a lot different, but that's because your guide, that voice within, it doesn't mean that you're always going to have peace. It doesn't mean that you're not going to go through things. It doesn't mean that, because maybe you need to go through the darkness to really see what you're made of. Maybe you got to go through the obstacle to strengthen you, for you to be aware of your strengths, at least. So don't be afraid of that voice. Trust that voice. It's always going to guide you, because that voice is what told me to go to Carbonnation. Because I listened. You understand? So the thing that I didn't want people to do is make me feel bad about my choice about going to Carbonnation. It was really about me being supportive and being like, this was a part of my journey. Like, if it was not for Carbonnation, if it was not for all the things that I went through, I wouldn't be the person I am right in this moment. And that's what it was all about for me. But it wasn't but sometimes it's like all or nothing. Either you in or you out. And I'm like, nah, I don't have to do that in my world. I can do whatever I want. And you can like it or not like it. It's up to you, and that's what it's about for me, because I want to continue to put the highest vibration out, and that is love, in everything that I do. Even with Chief, it's like, I love him, and I don't want it to be this thing. But eventually, sometimes you got to move on. You got to move forward. Things don't last forever. You know, just like with my family in Babylon in the States. I moved from that. Like, I don't talk to any of them, but it's okay. But I'm always there for them, you know. But you continually evolve and grow. And so the thing that happened between Chief and I was that when he did that, it triggered something within me. And I was like, you need to ask yourself, why did you get upset with him for changing? Like, because it was something within me that didn't like change. It's something within me that when I saw what he did, it made me feel certain about myself. Like, I'm constantly seeking validation and wanting to be accepted and want to fit in and want people to love me. But then sometimes I feel like I have to change who I am to make someone love me. And that's something that I do not want to put out in the universe. And that's something I don't want to represent. You want somebody to love you for you. Exactly who you are. And so when I saw that, it triggered me, and I was making him wrong for his choice, but not. It was something within me that I had to deal with within myself. Daily self-acceptance, self-love, you know, and that's what it came down to. That's what it came down to, because I could have got on here, I could have went live and talked shit and did all of this, but at the end of the day, it's me dealing with me. I'm responsible for myself. Nobody is doing anything to me at all. And that's why I tell anybody that leaves Carbonnation, don't leave acting like you're a victim. No, you went through something amazing that people can only imagine. Take that and make something out of it. Keep going. It made you who you are right now. But don't make yourself a victim. You're not a victim of your life. You are the key player, the leading actor in the movie of you. Stop being a supporting actor in your own life. Nobody is doing nothing to you. You know what I mean? And that's what I've been like really thinking about. And ever since I cut myself off from social media for a moment and really looked at what was in front of me, I was like, man, I'm a powerful manifester. Look at all that I was given. Okay, and maybe it's not going to last forever. Nothing does. But I guarantee you, whatever I'm given, I'm going to make it better. And when I leave, you're going to know that I was there. That's what it's all about. Committing yourself to your life. But committing yourself to another person. Commit yourself to your life. To your purpose. To loving yourself. Commit. And that's the problem. So we want people to commit to us, but they don't know how to commit to themselves. So start committing to yourself. Start loving yourself. And know your worth. And stop seeking someone else to give you something that is already within you. Okay? Now, the video is about to end. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video and start another video. And I'm going to do Q&A because I'm sure people have a lot of questions and things to that nature. Okay, so I'm actually going to end the video because I pretty much let you know what was going on. But if y'all want to go more deep with that, we can go into the next video. All right.